What's up, guys? Welcome back. The holiday season is in full swing and Christmas is on the way. You can't have a Christmas spread without prime rib, and today I've got you covered. Meet me in the kitchen. Let's make it happen.
That's great. Because by itself is so good.
All right, guys, first things first. Here we have a 4.5 pound prime rib. This is about it should be 2 bones, but it's a 1 bone prime rib we got from the store. We're gonna go ahead and heavily salt this. In my opinion, this is probably the most important step outside of like not over or under cooking it that you have when you cook a prime rib. This is a large piece of meat and nobody wants a bland prime rib. So what you wanna do is heavily salt it, preferably the night before, and then pop it in the fridge. You wanna give it a good, I would say 4 to 24 hours of salt brining. Osmosis is gonna help allow that salt to penetrate the meat and get flavor all the way through. As you can see, this is a thick cut of meat, and right now we're just seasoning the outside. If you cook it directly, you're really not seasoning anything kind of in the center of the meat. So osmosis is gonna allow the salt to penetrate, and you get a lot more flavorful portions when you go to slice this up. So heavy salt, and then some time in the fridge. All right, guys, so there's a number of ways we're gonna impart flavor into this prime rib. We already talked about the dry brine. You wanna do that 4 to 24 hours in advance if you have the time. We're also gonna set up our roasting pan with some vegetables. We have onions, we got celery, we got carrots. Really, this is there to create some aromatics, and then also it's gonna flavor the au jus that, in my opinion, is one of the better things about prime rib. You know, we're gonna make that as flavorful as possible. So we're gonna go ahead and add the veggies to the bottom of the roasting pan as the prime rib cooks. The juices are gonna render and they're gonna marry with those veggies, and we're gonna use that to make our au jus. For the veggies, we got onions, we got celery, we got carrots. We'll throw some garlic in there, some fresh herbs, and some red wine. Don't use your most expensive bottle. Save that for the guests or for you and your wife for Christmas, and just use something cheap. All right, so we talked about the first 2 ways we're adding flavor: the dry brine with the salt, the aromatics, and the red wine and everything that's gonna go into the au jus that we put in the roasting pan. The third way that we're gonna do that is with some compound butter. I'm gonna make like a Cajun and garlic compound butter with some fresh herbs. For that, you're gonna need 2 sticks of room temperature butter, some rosemary, thyme, garlic, parsley, and then the seasoning of your choice. I have my own Cajun blend here. If you wanna try that, you can get that at mrmakeithappen.shop. Or you can just use whatever your favorite Cajun or Creole seasoning is. We also have my buttery garlic pepper seasoning, which is fantastic. Again, you can grab that from the website or just use whatever your favorite seasoning is on your compound butter. Just want to get as much flavor as possible into this prime rib. Again, it's a large piece of meat, and in my opinion, nothing ruins a meal like a bland piece of prime rib. When it's good, it's amazing, but when it's bad, it's awful. So you want to do it the right way. You can make sure you get some good flavor in there, adequately salt it, and then again, add things that taste good with beef. Things like rosemary and thyme, butter, garlic, things of that nature. All right, guys, the fourth way that we're going to impart tons of flavor into this prime rib is to sear it. Now, with a smaller rib roast like this one right here, you can pan sear it first, then place it in the roasting rack and pop it in the oven at 325 until it reaches your desired internal temperature. If you have a larger roast, you can sear it in the oven at a high temperature. I have other recipes for prime rib on the channel that I'll link to. You guys can check that out. But if you're cooking for a smaller crowd, smaller family, this is perfect. This will feed four or 5 people, depending on what else you have on the menu. And this is good for a smaller size gathering. So that's what we're going with today. We're gonna get this skillet smoking hot, add some avocado oil, sear the fat cap first, sear both sides, put it in the roasting rack and let it cool a bit. And then I'm gonna rub it down in that compound butter. Pop it in the oven at 325. All right, once the skillet's smoking hot, in we go, fat side down first. Basically cooking this like a really large ribeye steak, because that's kind of what it is, 4.5 pounds in total. In my opinion, this is the better way to do it though. I'd cook 2 of these before I cook 1 large one. Just because I feel like you get a better crust and it's more, you know, adequately seasoned. It's hard to really thoroughly season a super large prime rib, in my opinion. All right, guys, we got the sear done. It has cooled enough to go ahead and start slathering on the butter. Don't be shy with the good stuff. So we're gonna go ahead and get it on there and then pop that in the oven. You can do this with a hand, a basting brush, spoon, whatever you got. No real right or wrong way to do it, but just get it on there. If some of it falls off, that's all right. It's gonna make the au jus taste even better. I mean, it's gonna fall off anyway. You just trying to get some of that flavor on the meat is really what the goal is here. Basically like cooking a steak and you baste it in butter and herbs. Similar concept. It'll just baste itself while it cooks. All right, guys, for a 4.5 pound roast, it took about an hour in the oven at 325 after we seared it. We're gonna let it rest for 15 minutes. Meanwhile, we're gonna drain the gravy or the au jus, whatever you wanna call it, the pan drippings, add a little bit of a slurry, which is a mixture of water and cornstarch to thicken it up, season at the taste, and that'll be what we pour over our slices as we serve it for our family. All right, guys, as you can see, we've carved this up beautifully. Came in at about a nice medium, which is what my family likes. Between medium and medium rare is usually what I shoot for. And this part where I say brace yourself for a trademark money shot. Say it with me, guys. Looking good. The only thing left to do is digging for the taste test. But before we do that, please take a quick second to subscribe to the channel. Make sure you hit that bell to enable notifications as well. I'm gonna cut myself a little piece right here. I like the side that's been charred. Give it a little dunk. That Cajun butter. All right. One last quick reminder that you can find all of these recipes, including this one, detailed directions, shopping lists, all that good stuff at MrMakeItHappen.com.